For every swing, every moment, the Milwaukee Brewers fight. It's not just about hitting the ball, it's about leaving a legacy.
Welcome back to your #1 news channel for all things Milwaukee Brewers. This is your host, always bringing you the hottest and most exclusive news straight from behind the scenes of our team. Before we dive into today's bombshell news, which could change the course of our season, I need to ask a favor of you, the soul of this team. If you value in-depth analysis, reliable information, and a point of view from someone who truly lives and breathes the Brewers, please click the subscribe button below and turn on notifications. It's quick, it's free, and you'll ensure you don't miss any crucial updates as we fight our way to the World Series. Your subscription is what allows us to continue bringing this exclusive content to the best fan base in MLB. Thank you for your constant support. Now let's get to it. The trade deadline is fast approaching, and as I've been saying for weeks, the Milwaukee Brewers are in a unique and powerful position. We are surging, having won 7 of our last 10 games, and we are breathing down the neck of the Chicago Cubs, just 1 game back for the lead in the National League Central. The energy at American Family Field is electric, and the team feels that something special is brewing. However, the front office, led by General Manager Matt Arnold, knows that to turn a good season into a championship, you have to be aggressive and surgical. And the information I have from very reliable sources, both inside and outside the organization, is that the Brewers have identified their primary target, a name that could be the missing piece to our offensive puzzle. All-Star and 2023 World Series hero, Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers. I know what some of you might be thinking. Adolis Garcia? El Bombi? But he's not having a spectacular year. And that's where the genius of a potential trade comes into play. Let's analyze the facts with the depth you deserve. First, our need. Since the departure of Willie Adams, we've been missing a consistent impact bat in the middle of the lineup. That guy who strikes fear into opposing pitchers and can decide a game with a single swing. With the unfortunate injury to Rhys Hoskins, who will be out for a significant period, that need has become an emergency. We cannot afford to wait. If we want to overtake the Cubs and establish ourselves as a true title contender, we need more firepower, and we need it now. The team has shown incredible resilience, with players like William Contreras, Bryce Turang, and the timeless Christian Yelich carrying the load. But to compete in October against the elite pitching rotations of the National League, we need one more slugger. This is where Adolis Garcia's name enters the picture, and not by chance. Sources like ESPN's Jeff Passan and MLB Network's Greg Amsinger have already pointed out that the Brewers are one big bat away from being legitimate World Series contenders. And Amsinger was even more specific, predicting that Garcia is Milwaukee's #1 target. This isn't just media speculation. I can confirm that preliminary conversations are happening. The Rangers, the reigning champions, are having a disappointing season, hovering below the 500 mark. The mindset in Arlington is shifting from defending the title to recapping and thinking about the future. They are in sell mode, and Garcia is one of their most valuable and tradable assets. Let's talk about Garcia's 2025 numbers, which are the main point of debate. Yes, his .234 or .277. 398 slash line doesn't jump off the page. His 12 home runs and 54 RBIs are good, but not spectacular for a player of his caliber. His .6686 OPS is well below what he can produce, but that's exactly why he becomes a perfect market opportunity for a smart team like ours. We are talking about a player who is a 2-time All-Star, a Gold Glove winner, and most importantly was the ALCS MVP in 2023, carrying the Rangers on his back with a historic postseason performance. That kind of experience and mentality in high-pressure games cannot be taught. Garcia has the clutch gene. Often, a change of scenery, the energy of a new fan base, and the motivation of a playoff race are all a player of his caliber needs to rediscover his best form. Imagine his electricity in our lineup, knowing that every game counts in the hunt for the Cubs. The structure of his contract is another factor that makes this trade extremely attractive to our front office, known for its fiscal prudence. In February 2024, Garcia signed a 2-year, $14 million deal to avoid salary arbitration. He is under team control through the end of the 2026 season. This means we wouldn't be renting a player for just a few months. We would have Adolis Garcia for this playoff push and for the entire 2026 season, giving us a much larger window of opportunity. For a team that needs to maximize its resources, getting an impact bat with a year and a half of team control is a dream scenario. The cost for the Rangers would be offloading his salary and, more importantly, avoiding a potentially more expensive arbitration hearing for his final season in 2026, especially if he has a spectacular second half of 2025 with us. They would rather trade him now, while his production is down, to secure a solid return of prospects, rather than risk losing him for less in the future or having to pay a hefty salary. It's a strategic play for both franchises, a rare scenario where everyone can win. The question that remains is, what would Matt Arnold be willing to send to Texas to secure our man? Let's deepen the analysis, because it's in the details that this trade reveals itself to be not just possible, but probable and strategically brilliant for the Milwaukee Brewers. The package to acquire Adolis Garcia will need to be significant but not prohibitive, precisely because of his current production. The Rangers can demand the moon and the stars for a player with a sub 700 OPS, even with his track record. However, the fact that he's under contract control through 2026 adds considerable value. They'll want prospects, and we have one of the most respected farm systems in the league. I believe a package centered around a high-potential pitcher who is close to the MLB, perhaps a Jacob Misiorowski if we want to be aggressive, or a Robert Gasser, and a position player from our organization's top 15-20 could be enough to start a serious conversation. Matt Arnold won't empty the farm, but he knows that championship windows like this don't open often. The time to act is now, and the cost of inaction could be far greater than the cost of a few promising prospects. Let's dissect Garcia's immediate impact on our team. He would step directly into the middle of our lineup, likely as the primary designated hitter, DH, allowing Christian Yelich to continue focusing on left field without the daily wear and tear. A batting order with Sal Frelick or Bryce Turang at the top, followed by William Contreras, Christian Yelich, Adolis Garcia, and a healthy Rhys Hoskins upon his return, would be one of the most feared in the National League. Garcia's presence would protect Yelich and Contreras, forcing pitchers to pitch to them instead of around them. Even in a down year, Garcia projects to over 20 home runs and close to 100 RBIs. That is elite production that we do not currently have at the DH position. He's not just a power hitter, he's a phenomenal athlete. His speed on the bases, while not his primary tool, is above average for a power hitter, and his arm in the outfield is legendary. Though, he would primarily be used as a DH here. The mentality he would bring to the clubhouse is also immeasurable. We are talking about a player who thrives under the spotlight. His 2023 postseason performance is a case study in excellence under pressure. He doesn't shrink in big moments. He seeks them out. On a young and vibrant team like ours, having a veteran with that kind of pedigree who has recently been to the mountaintop and knows what it takes to get there is an intangible asset. He would be a mentor to young stars like Jackson Chourio and Sal Frelick, showing them the level of intensity and focus required to win in October. The contagious energy of El Bombi, his passion for the game, would fit perfectly with the gritty, hard-working culture that Pat Murphy has instilled in our team. He is a Brew Crew player by nature, he just hasn't worn our uniform yet. Furthermore, the acquisition of Garcia would be a statement of intent to the rest of the league, and more importantly to our fan base. It would show that the front office is all in, that they believe in this group and are willing to make the bold moves necessary to bring a title to Milwaukee. This would inject a massive dose of adrenaline into the team and the fans, creating momentum that could carry us not only to the division lead, but to a long postseason run. We are in a tight race with the Cubs, and an acquisition of this caliber could be the psychological blow that tips the scales in our favor. While other teams might hesitate, the Brewers have the opportunity to strike a decisive blow in the market. To summarize, the potential trade for Adolis Garcia is not just a reaction to the Hoskins injury or an attempt to fill a spot. It is a calculated strategic maneuver to raise this team's ceiling from playoff competitor to World Series contender. It takes advantage of a favorable market situation, high potential player in a slump, With a beneficial contract structure, controlled through 2026 at a reasonable $14 million over 2 years to solve our most critical need, power in the middle of the lineup. He brings power, playoff experience, and a contagious energy that aligns perfectly with our team's identity. It's a high-risk, high-reward play, and it's exactly the kind of move that defines championships. The front office is working behind the scenes, and the pieces are moving. Now, I want to hear from you, the Brew Crew. Looking at all the angles, what do you think of this potential trade? Is Adolis Garcia the missing piece we need to finally win the World Series? Is the risk of his current production worth the reward of his potential and his playoff history? And what package of prospects would you be willing to offer the Rangers to bring him to Milwaukee? Leave your comments below. I read every single one and greatly value your opinions. Be prepared, because the next few weeks will be intense. And to ensure you don't miss a single detail, any inside information, or any in-depth analysis, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. The news will break fast, and we will be here to cover it all. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Brewers!